Welcome to Perch Academy. So let me show you this Ned Rigging here. Ned is actually not a three-letter abbreviation for a special rig. Ned is actually a guy. It's an American bass angler who invented this way of fishing something that will just stand up from the bottom and fish it really slow. This has evolved into many different techniques that we call net style of fishing. What I'm going to show you here is just our little net salamander that I've rigged on a little Cheb head so it stands up. This Duratex material actually floats. So I'm just going to drag it across the bottom, see if I can get a bite. And there it was, right away. So that's the great way of fishing these nets when you know where the fish are, because you can fish that bait right in their faces. It just stays there. The slight little movement, that Duratex floats up, and they can't resist to attack it. So Ned, thank you so much for giving us this rig.
It's been almost 150 years since an angler cast the first ever artificial worm. Since that fateful day, the humble worm has evolved into a whole family tree of soft lures and rigs, all with one common goal: to catch the big one. Nowadays, we're blessed with a huge range of soft lure fishing styles. Texas rig, Carolina rig, drop shot, Ned rigs, Cheb heads. But did you ever stop to wonder where they came from? We're here to help you learn the skills and techniques so you can catch a perch like a pro. Whether it's worms, creature baits, or crayfish, modern perch fishing is a universe of exciting and efficient methods that can help you catch more than ever before.
Welcome to the Perch Academy. This is Ned Rigging with the Savage Gear Ned rigs. Just now we're using that little salamander. Has that awesome micro movement, and for fishing in these areas where we got a lot of snags, fishing that on a little Cheb head with a 3/0 offset hook is just the perfect presentation. Just look at that. So that just stands up and wiggles from the bottom. Look at the details on it. This is gonna be fun. Welcome to the second episode of the Perch Academy. In this episode, we're going to look at net fishing, the style of fishing net lures. I'm going to show you a particular cool way to rig your net lures, these floating Duratex lures here. And we all know the open style J hook. This is a net stand-up jig head that we have right here that just basically stands up like this. But what I want to tell you about is the Cheb head used with the net lures. So Cheb actually is short for cheburashka, which is a name for a funny Mickey Mouse-like character from Russia. And you can see where the resemblance come in with the little ears that stick out on each side. And this is a very old style and method that the Russians used to use for their river fishing for sander, and they would cut foam rubber into the shape of a small minnow. So these foam rubber lures would float straight up from the cheburashka head, and it was a super awesome way to fish it. So combining the Cheb head with these net lures just gives you a fantastic presentation of these lively lures. The Cheb heads are so awesome because you got this articulating and free movement of, in this case, an EVG hook that basically makes your floating net lure stand up.
So baby, meet me down by the Roanoke River where the cool dark water meets the full moonlight. If we can sneak away, maybe we could be together. Candlelight, stop love tonight.
Alright, so this is the little net salamander. I fish it on a little 5-gram Cheb head with a 3/0 weedless hook, and you can see that just sits perfectly. There's a tiny little slot that hides the hook in there. Duratex material, super stretchable, and it stands up and floats, and it makes all these little micro movements as I twitch this along the bottom. So this is how I use the little net salamander on this little Cheb head rig. So let me show you how simple it is to use these lures. Once you know where the fish are, it's just about getting in there. So I'm just gonna get into that area under that tree, just like that. There's a big fish in there. So basically just drag it and let it sit there and do a little bit of movement. And once they pick it up, you can see the line goes off. And it's like that. There we go. That's awesome. It wasn't a giant, but it just showed you how super effective this is. Look how completely engulfed that little salamander is.
To the river we go. Leave our worries on the shore and drift away.
That's a fish. Right there. You saw that? Oh, that's a good one. That's a good fish. Right on that net salamander. Good fish. Have a look at that. So that's what net fishing is all about. Ooh, what a beauty. What a beautiful fish. Come here, baby. So, net fishing deluxe right there. Let it stand still, not make any movement, just a little bit. Oop. Oh, did you see that? The rod just bent right over. Yep. Oh man, they're on it big time. Yep. Oh, good fish. That is so awesome. For this real finesse fishing here with these light heads, I'm using the SG4 drop shot rod, and it just gives me that perfect sensitivity to feel the bites when they pick up the lure. But it's so awesome with this Ned Rigging here. It just sits there perfectly, and everybody can do this. It doesn't take a lot of technique because it's basically just dragging it through the schools of fish, and you just feel they eat it. They pick it up and they really want to eat it. So the Cheb head, or the Cheb head rig, let me just show you how easy that is. So the Cheb head is these little weight balls here where you have a pin that goes through that you can pull out. So when you pull out the little pin, you realize that inside you can put on a hook quite easily, and you just basically put it on one of the clips here, and you can see this is the position that you want it to be in, like that. So the hook is pointing up together with that little eye that points up. This little stainless steel clip you then have to pass back through this ball, and there's a small slot, and on the other side is a bigger slot, and you want to have it so that you feed the clip in from the bigger side and push it all the way in, as you can see. Then this loop here will block it, so you can never pull it out in that end. And that's basically exactly how the Cheb head is designed to put on an offset hook, a single hook like this, and then actually have it fished like that. One more fish on the minnow, right there. So I've got my little net minnow here in the Duratex material with that super durable tail, and I've got a heavier tungsten Cheb head, a 7-gram Cheb head, and a 3/0 EVG hook, a super slide hook, and I'm going to fish that. When I make a pause, the little minnow stands up like this. I'm going to fish this a little bit more aggressive than I would do with the net salamander or the net goby. So to get a little more aggressive movement pattern, so I'm just gonna, whoa, didn't even hit the bottom there, and I got nailed. So that one was basically hit on the drop. Cool thing about these Cheb heads is that they give that extra movement to the net bait, so it's wiggling and standing up like this on a spin stop. Yep. Right there on the minnow. Boom. They are super aggressive. So with a 7-gram head, I actually get the lure to swim down with that little paddle tail, and with a super slide EVG hook, I avoid all the debris and all the leaves floating on the surface, So that's an awesome way to fish minnow style paddle tail lure off a net head, off a chip head like this, so it actually floats and stands up just like that. This is an awesome way to present the bait. Let's try this again. Join me in the next episodes of the Perch Academy. I'm going to show you a bunch of cool ways to catch perch. Thank you for watching this episode of the Perch Academy, where we went in depth with the net style of fishing. So like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure to watch the next episode about drop shot fishing.